Okay, the most prevalent type of debt that's out there at this point that drives people into my office is dealing with defaulted credit card debts. We incur debts intending to repay them, and then our financial circumstances change. We lose an income. We get hurt. A business goes down. Some sort of physical or financial trauma afflicts our home, whether it's a divorce proceeding or whether it's some sort of a loss of income of any type. And now we can't afford to pay the credit card that we intended to repay when we incurred the debt. So what happens is the credit card companies immediately, and they're the quickest ones to start calling, and I'll call it harassing, but there are creditors that are trying to collect on credit cards that aren't harassing. It's their job. You're not making the payments on it. I understand that. You understand that. There's people that call and they kindly just say, hey, look, you're behind on your credit card debt. Is there something we can do to help? On the other hand, once the credit cards become seriously in default and they're turned over to debt collectors, or even worse, once they're deemed a non-performing note and they're sold with $500,000 worth of other non-performing notes to a debt buyer who might pay 5 or 6 cents on the dollar, these debt collectors or debt buyers become extraordinarily aggressive. They will threaten you with things that they really can't legally do. They'll threaten you with the things that are in violation of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. And they do that with impunity because they understand that if you're having financial troubles and falling behind on your credit cards, you're probably not going to be able to afford to pay a $3,000 retainer out to an attorney to file a federal lawsuit for violation of a federal Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. So what happens in this instance is it goes from harassment to lawsuit. If you don't file a responsive pleading, if you don't defend it down, it goes to judgment. Once there's a judgment out there, then they can assert control over your assets through levying your bank accounts or taking non-exempt property. They can also, and this is what they usually do, is they garnish your wages. That's the end result of a lawsuit for collecting on a credit card debt. It's never too late to try to negotiate that with the lender, whether it's in the collection status, whether it's in a lawsuit or a garnishment or a judgment status. Still, try to negotiate something. Give our offices a call. We'd be happy to advise you on the course of action that we would take if we woke up in your personal financial situation. But credit card debts are the most aggressive, the most oppressive, the most aggressive creditors that are out there at this point, other than maybe student loans and tax debts. You need to take them seriously. Don't just bury your head in the sand hoping that the problem will go away. Hire or consult with an experienced consumer bankruptcy attorney who can advise you relative to the full spectrum of your alternatives to resolving this credit card financial problem. One last note I will indicate. If a credit card company files a lawsuit against you and serves you with legal process, please, please, please don't just bury your head in the sand. The clock is ticking. Certain rights are expiring. If you don't respond timely or file a response with a certain affirmative defense that you could raise, you could lose those defenses and they could end up getting a default judgment against you, which means you simply didn't respond. The judge saw the complaint. The creditor filed a notice of default with the court, and 10 days later, they've got a judgment on whatever they alleged. It might not have even been true. The dollar amount could be wrong. You might not even know that creditor. So when you receive a lawsuit on a credit card, read the lawsuit, see if you even know who the creditor is, set up an appointment to meet with us in our office, let us review it, let us make some suggestions on courses of action, and then you can take action rather than just letting a default judgment get issued against you. Appreciate you taking the time to listen to our message here. Look forward to seeing you in our office.